Howdy, friends. Gary Thomas here on a sad day. I just learned about 30 minutes ago that a very important individual in my life just lost his fight with cancer, Mr. Edward Van Halen. Sure, a lot of us got a lot of stories in our head about Van Halen. Um, I know I'd been listening to music for years. My dad played music all the time. I was always very much into it. Um, but when Van Halen 1 came out, and I'd probably been playing guitar for about 5 years, it really gave me a whole different outlook on music, different approach. Ed made things exciting, he made them imaginative. Um, I was lucky. I went and saw Van Halen 8 different times over a long span of 40 years. I remember the first time I went and saw Van Halen was in 1979. I think tickets were $12.50. It's at the Von Brau Civic Center. It was probably less than 1,000 people there. My cousin was with me. He was doing a couple of hits of acid. So it's kind of like I had a 5-year-old with me. But it was an amazing show. I mean, it was electric. Um, and every time that I went to see Van Halen, I went in excited and I came out even more excited and deaf. Um, my wife and I went and saw Van Halen on their last tour with David Lee Roth. And what amazed me was how they were still like they were 40 years ago. You know, they played their songs the way they were supposed to be played. They were having fun. The crowd was having fun. Um, and all of you that know me a little bit know how big of a fan of Eddie I am. I mean, the history. I remember this guitar right here, which Adrian Coker had a chance to sit down and mess around with. Um, I actually lied to the credit union company that I was working with at the time, and this was back in mid 1981, and told them I was going to buy a car. And instead of a car, I bought this Van Halen guitar, which was, the first one that was in Chattanooga at the Soundpost. And I could remember when I lived by myself in my apartment years ago, I had a music room, and one wall was just covered with pictures out of Guitar for the Practicing Musician and Circus and all of that of Van Halen, in action, the band, and each of the members. I can remember my cousin coming over one day and going in, and I was playing him some Van Halen tunes, and he looked at the wall and he said, "Man, you really like those guys, don't you?" And something about the way they changed music. It was always happy. You didn't have Van Halen singing about something, that got you down. It was always up. I mean, this year for my retirement, I bought this thing, and I'm sure a lot of people thought he's just crazy, to spend, $14,000 on a guitar. But that's what Van Halen was to me. It wasn't about buying something to collect it. It was about buying something that was as close as I could get to what Eddie was doing, what was in his mind, and how he was getting his sound and his technique, and what felt good to him, what worked good for him. Uh, he's always inspired me one way or another. But the biggest thing I think was seeing him live and seeing the fun that he was having doing what he loved to do for all those years. So now, when this bad news comes today, I don't think about it being a bad day. I mean, I have a little glow inside me that I know that each time I pick up one of these guitars and I plug it up and I play a Van Halen tune, um, that I'm going to smile a little bit because I got to live through all of these years and be in touch with their music and listen to those songs that made the hair stand up and that you just would listen to over and over. And Alex, later on, I'll do a music tribute to Ed, but right now, I'm just thinking about how Van Halen affected me and all of the good. I can't think of one negative thing when I think about Van Halen. All I can think about is good. It really, how it made me feel good inside. I mean, when I was at the concerts, I just was like, if I could stay in a place like this all the time, a place that brings this much joy to this much people, uh, everybody in tune with one thing, and just having, a celebration. That's what I think about when I think about Edward Van Halen. Uh, Rest in peace, Eddie. You're not gone, man. Every time I turn on the stereo and every time I pick up one of these guitars, I'm going to be smiling, thinking about you running across the stage, sliding and jumping and flipping and kicking and having a good old time and entertaining all of us folks and teaching us what rock and roll is supposed to be about. Everybody have a good day. I'll be talking to you later.